Who wish to speak? Maria Nichols, come on up.
I'm going to respectfully share my time today, if that's okay. Superintendent Carvalho, President Merce, board members, I'm Maria Nichols, proud AALA Teamsters Local 2010 president. I am here today united in solidarity with our parents, teachers, and administrators of Broadway Elementary School to express our strong objection to the district's unjust and unlawful decision to non-reelect Principal Rachelle Garmon as she completes her second year at Broadway Elementary School. Principal Garmon is a 20-year veteran of LAUSD, a dedicated educator who has served Broadway for over a decade in various capacities. Since assuming the role in 2023-24 school year, she has led the school with professionalism, integrity, and a deep commitment to all students, navigating complex challenges between the Mandarin and Spanish immersion programs, which have been long-standing. Her leadership has been acknowledged not only by her school community, but also in her most recent performance evaluation conducted on May 14, 2025, where the regional director discussed working together for the upcoming school year. Less than 2 weeks later, the district abruptly issued her a non-reelection notice with no warning, no due process, no investigation of any violation of district policies. Let's be clear. The decision to non-reelect Principal Garmon was not due to her performance in final evaluation grounded in the school leadership framework. She received an effective rating for contributions to student outcomes, an effective rating in staff feedback, and a commendation that states the collaborative structures you have put in place support the instructional demands, and by setting goals as a team, the staff will continue to take ownership of the work. It further goes on to state, the director will continue to support your leadership growth and marks the next evaluation period for 2025-26. The evidence that we have suggests that the decision to non-reelect was the result of a targeted, discriminatory campaign led by a small group of individuals who opposed her leadership due to her race and her perceived linguistic background. She was subjected to derogatory comments and repeated attempts to undermine her authority. The district's failure to defend her and instead act on these discriminatory voices is indefensible and in violation of district policy and the law. Compounding this injustice are unfounded allegations related to $57,000 in Booster Club funds. These funds were never in the possession of Principal Garmon or the school. Let me remind you that boosters are separate entities, third parties. Booster meetings are not school-sponsored events, and any expectation that she policed the content of parent speech at such meeting raises serious First Amendment concerns. In fact, retaliation for not silencing critical speech may itself be a constitutional violation. Board members, Superintendent Carvalho, this is bigger than one administrator. This decision sends a chilling message about how LAUSD treats their new and developing district leaders. It tells principals that doing everything right, leading with care, following policies, building community, building trusting relationships is not enough. It isn't enough if others decide that for discriminatory reasons, they simply don't want you there because you don't speak Spanish. We call on the board to do the right thing. We call on the superintendent to do the right thing. Conduct a comprehensive investigation relating to these matters. rescind the non-reelection of Principal Rachelle and institute her earned permanency. If the district does not reverse this decision, we are prepared to pursue all available legal avenues. Thank you. And now, I ask you respectfully to allow Principal Garmon a few minutes, since you have really damaged her current career at this time. So give her the courtesy of speaking, please.
We love you, Rachelle!
Good morning, Superintendent Carvalho and LAUSD board members. I am deeply humbled by the support I've received and honored to share a few words about my journey at Broadway Elementary, a school I proudly served since 2010 as a third grade teacher, categorical program advisor, TSP coordinator, instructional coach, and now principal. Over the years, I've worked hard to bring innovation and opportunity to our students for both dual language programs, introducing activities such as the spelling bee, math kangaroo, science, robotics clubs, overnight education trips. We reopened our library, we painted a new mural, and updated the playground, creating a joyful, enriching environment for all students to thrive and to earn their optimum potential. We've also built strong partnerships, launching our first local school leadership council, uniting parents, teachers, and administrators around key issues and collaboratively making decisions in the best interests of all stakeholders. Through this, we've built trust, strengthened relationships, and shaped a shared community vision to be the best and brightest for all of our students. One of my proudest achievements has been building morale and uniting our staff. I can say with confidence, I have the hardest working teachers in LAUSD. They plan, collaborate, and create daily to give our students their absolute best. This work would be impossible without their dedication and trust, and as principal, I supported my selfless teachers by creating systems and structures for meaningful collaboration and ensuring they have the time, tools, and resources they needed to achieve extraordinary and accelerated student outcomes. And our results speak for themselves. On the recent summative Smarter Balance assessments, 86% of our 3rd through 5th grade students scored at or above grade level in ELA, and 79% in math. Our parents and guardians are the heartbeat of Broadway. Their passion, commitment, and constant support uplift our entire community. They show up, they speak out, and they give generously of their time and energy to ensure the success of their children and our school. I care deeply for our students, our staff, families, and community. Broadway is more than just a school. It's a magical, one-of-a-kind place that continues to thrive because of our entire school community. It needs and deserves your continued attention, investment, and care. Thank you for your time, and thank you for believing in Broadway.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Any other labor partners? Oh, thank you.
Tab 3, we have 4 folks who are listed as calling in. The first caller is Mr. David Tokovsky. I do not see you on the line. Are you in the room, Mr. Tokovsky? Okay. Gina Naranjo, are you in the room for tab 3, Gina? Benjamin, I see you're on the line. Benjamin, for tab 3, please press *6 to unmute yourself, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak once you begin. Benjamin.
The public school, all donations should support Broadway as a whole. Rather than continuing a cycle of blame between LAUSD and the school, our new principal must act quickly and decisively to strengthen both programs and unify our community.
Thank you very much for your time. Normally, the public comment is directed specifically to the item on the agenda. So if tab 3 is adoption of the LAUSD affiliated charters 2025 and accountability plans, the public comment should be specifically directed to that. Although I know we have, okay, so we have 10 speakers to this item. I'll begin taking them now. I'm gonna call on the folks who are in person first, and then we'll transition to the folks who are remote. So the first speaker is Michelle Chen. Are you here? Michelle Chen. And then after Ms. Chen is Matt Rothel, and then Kazuko Golden. So the floor is yours, Ms. Chen. You'll have 2 minutes to speak once you begin. I'm sorry, let me activate your mic before we... Okay, you're good to go.
Good afternoon, members of the board, Superintendent Carvalho. My name is Michelle Chen. I am a parent of a rising third grader at Broadway Elementary School. Today, you will hear from parent after parent after parent about the broader issues underlying the unjust removal of Principal Rachelle Garmon and the continued failures of Region West to meet its responsibilities and its shameless attempt to shift blame. Let us all rightly understand, Principal Garmon is not being removed because of poor leadership. On the contrary, as you can see, she has the support of teachers, families, and students, people who see her work every single day. And the truth is, Region West is attempting to scapegoat her to deflect from its own inaction, mismanagement, and lack of accountability. Region West has failed to provide consistent guidance. It has failed to support Broadway's multilingual programs with adequate staffing, resources, or vision. It has failed to engage with families in good faith, choosing instead to silence us, ignore our concerns, and unilaterally dismantle a thriving school community. Rather than take ownership of those failures, Region West is targeting a principal who has done nothing but hold the line for students in the face of instability, neglect, and top-down dysfunction. And if, in the face of overwhelming parent, teacher, union, and community support for Principal Garmon, this board still allows Region West to scapegoat her, then let me remind you that unlike the district administrators, this board serves at the pleasure of its constituents. This isn't about just one leader. It's about a culture of blame shifting at the regional level that punishes success, alienates communities, and erodes trust. Please do not reward failure by sacrificing competent leadership. You don't want to look at a room full, half full, in red in support of Mrs. Garmon. Imagine what's in store for you come the fall.
Thank you for your
Thank
time. Matt Rotham, please come on up. I have 2 minutes to speak once you begin, and then Ms. Golden. And then after Ms. Golden will be Fred T.
Good afternoon, Superintendent and board members. My name is Matt Rathley, and I am a parent at Broadway Elementary. The district continues to ignore a growing crisis, the complete lack of a teacher pipeline, and Region West's ongoing failure to build one or take meaningful steps towards long-term solutions. Broadway is struggling to find qualified teachers, especially for its Mandarin program. Rather than support innovation, the district has actively undermined it. Through our Booster Club, the parent community initiated a scholarship program with students at Loyola Marymount University to address this long-term teacher recruitment and training issue for Broadway. But instead of exploring this potential and its benefits to the Broadway community at large, Region West shot the proposal down without even reviewing it. No meeting, no discussion, no curiosity. Worse, we were told that it was dismissed because it was strictly for the Mandarin program. That is false. The LMU partnership was designed to benefit the entire school's teacher pipeline, an easily verified fact that had Region West conducted even basic due diligence instead of relying blindly on uninformed hearsay. Region West conduct is in complete violation of the district's core values of equity, collaboration, and excellence. What's more egregious is that Region West has offered no substantive alternatives to fill the gap. Their answer, as I told you all in an email over the weekend, is that they're talking to HR. That's not an answer, guys. The anemic teacher pipeline for Broadway is a product of the district's inaction. Broadway parents are working hard to build a strong, stable school that serves its student. That work should be supported, not sabotaged. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Kazuko Golden. come on up. And then after Ms. Golden is Fred Tatasciore, and then Alyssa Sandrowski.
Good morning, members of the board and Superintendent Carvalho. My name is Kazuko Golden. I'm a proud parent of an entering second grader at Broadway Elementary School, and I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you today. As I reflect on this past year, I'm reminded that the heart of a successful school lies in strong leadership and united community. At Broadway, we've been fortunate to have both, anchored by an exceptional principal, Ms. Garmon. Ms. Garmon has led with warmth, vision, and deep cultural understanding. Whether welcoming students by name and nurturing both the Spanish and Mandarin immersion programs, she has consistently shown what it means to lead with excellence, empathy, and integrity, even in the face of limited resources and complex challenges. She is not just a good principal, she is an astounding one. I am at this point going to put the rest of my speech behind a trophy that I will now award to the board with your permission, which is a petition that the students have signed on her behalf. And the question that they have asked of you and of Region West is why? And it has not been addressed. And we wanted that opportunity, but they canceled our meeting with them. Now, you have just heard from two testimonies on the line today, which gave some very accusatory remarks. If she is actually going to be let go for harassment, Region West has not even provided that. They have not told us anything. You have asked us to move to the balcony. Why? We want to know answers. We want transparency. That is what you are supposed to represent. If you say that the budget is in line with our principles, our principal is not in line with letting go a beloved principal who is a leader for our school. So I will give to you this petition on behalf of children who she welcomed when their houses burned down during the fires. Her family is from Altadena. And I would like for you to also answer the question why she is among one of 4 other Black women principals who are being let go in our region. Thank you.
For your time. Fred T, come on up. Thank you. You have 2 minutes to speak once you begin.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Superintendent Carvalho and members of the LAUSD Board. Thank you for your work. My name is Fred Tatasciore, and I'm a new parent at Broadway Elementary. I'm here today to express deep concern over the reassignment of Principal Rachelle Garmon and what appears to be a troubling pattern of principal removals across Region West. The presence of so many parents and teachers and union here today is a testament to our confidence in Principal Garmon. If this were a performance issue, would this many of us be standing in support? We understand that transparency can be limited due to privacy concerns, but we believe that with open dialogue and commitment to partnership, we can find a way forward together. Broadway is one of LAUSD's highest performing schools, ranked number 11 in the district. It's home to a rare dual language immersion program in both Spanish and Mandarin. A school this complex and culturally rich needs steady, culturally competent leadership. Principal Garmon exemplifies that. She served for years as Broadway's instructional coach before becoming principal during that time. She built trust with families, supported academic excellence, retained talented staff, and unified our diverse programs. Her sudden removal without transparency or community input puts all of that at risk. Even more troubling, she's the 5th Black woman principal lost to us from Region West this summer, along with leaders from Playa Vista, Baldwin Hills, Marquez Charter, and Prescott. These were not struggling schools. This pattern calls for urgent review. At Broadway, over 1,000 parents and community members have signed a petition to keep Principal Garmon in her role. We've also seen repeated breakdowns in communication, procedural inconsistencies, and decisions made without input from the community. This is no longer just a personnel issue, it's a crisis of leadership and trust. So how do we move forward? All right, we want help. Let's come together, families, educators, and district leadership, to rebuild trust, restore stability, and collaborate on a shared vision for success at Broadway and across Region West. Until then, we respectfully request that Principal Garmon be retained through the 2025-26 school year, and that an independent investigation be launched into leadership removals across Region West. Our children and our schools deserve better. How can we solve this together? Thank you.
Sandrowski, come on up. You have 2 minutes to speak once you begin.
Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to us today. I know we're a lot, but we love Principal Garmon. My name is Alyssa Sandrowski. I'm the parent of a rising 3rd grader and an incoming kindergartner at Broadway. I'd like to tell you a story. It's about a beloved principal who's sitting behind me, who's spent more than a decade serving our school community. only to be removed abruptly without warning or explanation by Region West leadership. Parents, teachers, even our children were left stunned and confused. Why was she removed? What did she do? Or as my own child asked me, Mommy, why isn't Principal Garmon coming back? She's the best. I understand the need for discretion in personnel decisions. That's critical. But there's a huge difference between respecting privacy and completely shutting out a community. What's worse is that how we've been treated for asking questions. We've been dismissed, we've been patronized, and we've been talked down to. Sadly, Broadway is not alone. As you've heard, we're seeing a troubling pattern across Region West when it comes to transparency. Principals quietly removed at other schools, and recent confusion last year about new admission rules at Mark Twain and Walter Reed. You know, we teach our children to look for patterns in reading, in math, in history. The pattern here is clear. LAUSD and Region West leaders repeatedly disregard the voices of the very people who make our schools successful: teachers, parents, and students. But this story doesn't have to end this way. There's still time to make things right by reinstating Principal Garmon and rebuilding the trust that's broken. Our kids are watching. You know, they chanted in front of Broadway just a few weeks ago before school let out, "Save our principal," and they believe their voices matter. Let's please show our children that their voices do matter by changing the end of this Broadway story. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Michael Shen, and then Curtis Hammond. Come on up. You'll have 2 minutes to speak once you begin.
Hello, good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Michael Shen. I'm a parent at Broadway Elementary, and I'd like to talk to you about something very simple: money and how we're wasting it. Removing a successful school principal is expensive. It doesn't just happen. There are costs, real ones, as you know. LAUSD's own estimates and national benchmarks place the price tag for recruiting and onboarding a new principal somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000. Add another $10,000 to $15,000 a month for interim leadership while you search for a replacement. That's the cost of indecision. That's the cost of disruption, of doing this badly. But the check doesn't stop there. Disrupted leadership means disrupted classrooms. It leads to teacher turnover, costing $20,000 to $30,000 per position, and jeopardizes the programs that make our school special, like dual language immersion. That means fewer students, lower enrollment, and yes, lower per pupil funding. When leadership collapses, it creates a financial sinkhole. All of this is money we don't have to spend. Not when our students need counselors, not when our teachers need support, not when parents are fundraising for basic supplies. So here's the question. What's the cost of keeping a principal who has the trust of her staff, the support of our community, and the results to prove it? Zero. $0. Zero disruption. Zero lost momentum. And yet, instead, we are being asked to absorb not just the confusion, but the cost. Without a clear explanation, without transparency, and without a plan. If there has been wrongdoing, then say it. If there hasn't, stop wasting time and money on a mistake we all know is going to cost us far more than just dollars. This isn't about Broadway Elementary. This is about how we lead and how we spend, and whether this board is prepared to be accountable for both of those things. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Curtis Hammond, are you here? Curtis. Nicole Pfefferman, please press *6 to unmute yourself, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak once you begin. Nicole Pfefferman.
Good morning. My name is Nicole Pfefferman, and I'm an educator, parent, and co-founder of Parents Supporting Teachers. As a teacher and parent, I understand that all things flow from the budget. As a teacher and parent, it feels like the budget doesn't always make it to the classrooms or school sites. For years, I've spent my money on my own classroom and for students while also supporting my own children's teachers. And for years, we have fought for fair wages for all school staff. 4 on this agenda today raised my interest in light of the more intense budget conversations being held this year. As an admin of Parents Supporting Teachers, I've been receiving an increasing number of messages from frustrated and angry district folks who work inside Beaudry. These employees have shared that over the last 3 years, there have been more higher level staff positions created in various divisions that are simply redundant, administrators, directors, etc. It simply bloated the bureaucracy without any added value for students and schools. Secondly, last week the superintendent said that as a matter of directors, etc. It simply bloated the bureaucracy without any added value for students and schools. Secondly, last week the superintendent said that as a matter of moral principle, there would be a moratorium on raises and benefits for senior staff. However, in today's materials for this agenda, there is a list of senior staff who will be getting a car or an auto allowance while making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Also in today's list, Kurt E. John is being offered almost $270,000 to replace Norberto Delgadillo as a Deputy Chief Financial Officer. Norberto made $215,000 in that same position. How can district leadership declare a moratorium last week based on moral principles and then bring this to the board for approval this week? I want the school board to have a list of all their location, their titles, their pay, and the funding source of their pay. We want the school board to have a list of all contracts, outside consultants and programs, the costs, the funding sources, and managers. Only with this information can the board make righteous decisions for our children, and our schools, and our classrooms. Thank you, and please return Principal Garmon to her school.
Thank you for your time. That concludes public comment on tab 4. We'll now go to tab 6, which is the report of correspondence. We have one speaker to that item, Miss Emily Kay. Miss Emily Kay, please press *6 to unmute yourself, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak once you begin.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hi. So I am going to be speaking for Gina Navarro. Unfortunately, for some reason, she wasn't able to jump on when you called her name. So her statement is, my name is Gina Navarro, and I'm a parent at the Spanish Immersion Program at Broadway Elementary. I want to speak today about the harm caused under the previous principal's leadership, both Principal Wong and then followed by Principal Garmon. Harm that continues to impact our children, our classrooms, and our community. In conversation with Principal Garmon, I brought up the fact that the Mandarin Immersion Program had 9 classroom aides, while the Spanish Immersion Program had just 1.5. Her response? That if Spanish Immersion Program wanted more classroom support, Spanish Immersion parents would have to simply just raise more money. This is not only deeply unethical, it's a violation of LAUSD policy and public education law. No student should receive more or less academic support based on their parents' fundraising capacity. The findings from the UCP report confirmed these systematic inequities and validated what many of us have been experiencing for years. Under both former Principal Wong and Principal Garmon leadership, we saw a school where privilege, not policy, seemed to dictate decisions. A school where the Booster Club parents were allowed to influence staffing, resources, and school culture, often at the expense of equity and unity. The principal did not push back. The district did not intervene for years. And Spanish immersion families were and have been left to fend for themselves in a system designed to be excluding of us. So I ask you now, who has been running our school? Because it hasn't been the district. It hasn't been the principal. Control was handed over to those with the loudest voice and the most money. Even as the principal's reinstatement was announced, parents turned our school into a circus, and she's done nothing to stop it. To the district, now that you are selecting a new principal, please do better. Appoint a principal who brings vision, backbone, and seizure responsibility. Someone who understands how to navigate budget within the district.
Thank you very much for your time. Okay, that concludes public comment for tab 6. Juan Magandi, I feel like I saw you here. Come on up, Mr. Magandi. You'll have 2 minutes to speak once you begin. Mr. Magandi is going to speak in Spanish, so if you've still got those headsets, please slap them on. If you don't have a set and you would like to hear what he's saying, translated into English as he's speaking in Spanish, please put your hands up and we'll get you a headset.
Buenos días. Good morning. Before they had told me a story that was called Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. So they said this story, right? It had something to do with reality. That's what I've always asked myself, right? And how is it that we have been able to accumulate so many resources and then we don't know how to share what we believe is an honest share? Because we're not thinking about the people. It's a sad thing because this school that has green and blue colors, because they're working to raise the standards, the academic standards. They're removing a person that wants to do good. That's what you all do. You are the prime example of mediocrity. You all like that. You are trying to have a bunch of parasites here for more than $3,000 for what? To do what? To have an army that will give you coffee to whoever gives coffee and to make coffee. And right here we need better teachers that give quality education that can elevate the level of life here at school. That's what these schools needs. What are you all doing in exchange for that? A bunch of positions, right? It's a shame that how is it that we're talking about that for the funds? We're talking about the title this, Title 3, Title 2. Oh my God. Honestly, how can I feel like your tongues can even get cancer from such hypocrisy? Since our communities are the most that are left behind. And we want to see that people want to do something. What do? No, it's that we can't permit for the people to get educated. We want ignorant people. We want fearful people, people that are afraid to be able to do and have all that money that we all pay all the constituents so that way we can retain what we have, what we call the LAUSD. It's time for this person. Just for being African American, you're not giving her that post, and she has the quality, the qualifications, and the parents were going to support that person to be able to get to where she needs to be. And hopefully, I wish there would be more principals like that are so interested, not because people are interested in a check, because they're not interested to do anything for the community.
Thank you for your time. Stephen Sue.
Good afternoon, Board and Superintendent. My name is Stephen Sue. I'm a parent of a child at Broadway Elementary School. I'm here today with major concerns. I'm honestly surprised by Region West's recent inaccurate and unclear communications. And think about this. Before you approve today's budget, realize that many of the issues that we discussed today could have been avoided with consistent funding for Broadway's dual language programs. Regarding the FOBE's budget, which is Broadway's Elementary Booster Club, Region West claim that our budget didn't approve it is untrue. Our FOBE's board actually unanimously voted yes on the forecasted budget, but it was us, parents, who voted against it. Why? It's because we don't know who our principal will be after June 26. How can we approve a budget without even knowing who leadership is going to be, especially with our trust in Region West so low? Even Mr. Melvoin called Region West's communication unacceptable. This budget mess and our school's challenges stem from the district's inconsistent financial support. We lack basic support, such as teaching aids. Our curriculum is 15 years old, and parents even funded all of our own library books. Our community's trust is shattered. Region West isn't open or listening. The sudden unannounced removal of our beloved Principal Garmon solidified this. We're tired of excuses and delayed tactics. It's frustrating. Many families come from other districts. Are you willing to lose them and their tax money? Must we sue or charter our own school to cut through this red tape? This is infuriating and insulting to taxpayers who demand accountability and real actions, not more excuses. Thank you again for listening.
Thank you for your time. Belinda Ma, come on up. You have 2 minutes to speak once you begin.
Good afternoon, school board members. My name is Belinda Ma, and I'm another active parent of a rising third grader at Broadway Elementary. I was one of the parent representatives on the principal selection committee for Broadway 2 years ago. The committee was led by Agnes Kamau, who personally selected Rachelle Garmon to lead Broadway Elementary. She believed in Principal Garmon so deeply that she chose her over other more experienced candidates, a decision that reflected Ms. Kamau's confidence in Rachelle's ability to lead, inspire, and strengthen a diverse and complicated school community. Every single other person on that selection committee to this day still believes this ability to be absolutely true. However, Agnes Kamau has suddenly and inexplicably done a complete 180, turning against the very leader she was championing up until a few short weeks ago. This reversal is either a result of a nefarious intent or a tacit admission of a serious lapse of her judgment. If it's the former, then the district has a duty to act swiftly and transparently to reverse this mistake, because corruption and personal agendas have no place in our children's education. If it's the latter, then the district must still intervene on behalf of Broadway, because someone who makes such consequential misjudgments cannot be trusted to lead one school, let alone an entire community of schools in Region West. Either way, the situation demands accountability and respect shown to teachers and staff, students and stakeholders alike. The overwhelming support from teachers and parents, which you see here today, makes it abundantly clear that Principal Garmon's removal is rooted in a calculated and unjust decision, not merely a lapse in judgment. Rachelle was and still is head and shoulders above any other candidate that you could find to lead our school. She leads with strength and a compassion for her students and staff, and today you can clearly see just how deeply ingrained that mutual respect is. Please don't compound Region West's myriad mistakes and allow them to fool this board to make another costly, short-sighted, and poorly thought-out move. Doing so will only accelerate staff departures, drive down student enrollment, expose the district to multiple legal challenges, and push more families to consider the charter route or leave the district entirely. Shuffling principals around to hide District West failures will continue to cost taxpayers and the community dearly. So please do not allow this egregious decision to stand. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Mercedes Younger, please come on up. You have 2 minutes to speak once you begin. Then John Paul Arancianaga. I'll remind folks this is related to the budget. So please go ahead. Thank you.
Yes, I will relate this to the budget. Hello, members of the LAUSD Board. My name is Mercedes Younger. Obviously, I'm a parent at Broadway Elementary. I urge you to reconsider the decision to remove Principal Garmon, not just for fairness, but because it's fiscally irresponsible. Shuffling principals without transparency wastes taxpayers' money. It creates instability. Principal Garmon is an experienced leader with deep knowledge of Broadway's dual language programs. Replacing her means unnecessary recruitment and onboarding costs, and it risks unraveling the process of it risks the progress that our school has made. So why is no one being held fiscally accountable? The decision also reveals serious flaws in District West leadership oversight. An inaccurate UPC complaint was filed just 6 weeks into her tenure. Yet most immersion families and board members were never consulted. Over 2/3 of our school and community had no voice in this. Why? We had partnerships in place with LMU and Pepperdine, funded by parent-raised dollars to support a scholarship pipeline for student teachers, an initiative that was strategically research-based and forward-thinking. Region West abruptly canceled it last minute, throwing away a fiscally responsible solution to a teacher pipeline problem that directly benefits our kids. Broadway's a unique school. It requires a leader who understands its complexity, yet decisions made by Ms. Kamau and the MMD leadership, including Ms. Acosta, who recently lost a $2 million lawsuit for discrimination and retaliation, have deepened community rifts instead of healing them. We value equity, financial responsibility, and student success. We must keep the leadership that is working. Don't discard it based on flawed and opaque process. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. John Paul Arcianaga. John Paul Arcianaga, come on up.